Okay, we're back. Let me bring back my assistant. Okay, example 3. Well, first of all, we've got to make sure that our equations are lined up. So, are my x's lined up together? Are my y's lined up? Are my equal signs lined up? And are my constant numbers lined up? And they are. So we're ready to rock and roll. So now we get to pick, are we going to use addition or subtraction? We're going to pay attention to the variable that has common coefficients. Not equal, but common. 9 and 7 do not have much in common, but 4 and -4 do, because when I add them together, they cancel each other out. So I can eliminate the x's by adding these two equations. So let's put our plus sign there. I don't worry so much about parentheses around that second equation because addition is so much friendlier. So 4 plus -4 is 0. There are 0 x's in this solution. But 9 plus 7 gives me a 16y, and 11 plus 5 is 16. So this tells us that y is equal to 1 if I divide both sides by 16. Y'all see that? So now I can take my y equals 1 and I'm going to plug it back into either this equation or this equation. Now these are both pretty complicated equations. I mean, there's not, a simpler looking one, except I'm going to pick this one up here just because I don't like that negative down there, and 5 is smaller than 11. So if I plug in y equals 1 into this equation, I'll get 4x plus 9 times 1, because that says 9y, and y is 1, is equal to 5. And now I got to solve, so 4x plus 9 equals 5. If we subtract 9 from both sides, then we end up with, those have canceled, 4x is equal to 5 minus 9 is -4. X is equal to -1 if I divide both sides by 4. So that tells me that my x coordinate is -1, my y coordinate is +1, and that's where those two lines intersect. And you can always take this and plug it in and make sure that it works. If x is -1, this would be a -4, plus 9 times 1 is 9, -4 plus 9 is 5. Okay, the last equation. And my little assistant here is about done with his job. It's almost time for him to go home. Here, first thing we have to do, remember, is always make sure that your equations are lined up. Are my x's lined up? They sure are. But here I have an equal sign, here I have a minus sign. So my equal signs are not lined up. So I need to make it so that I either have x on one side with the equal sign and then everything over there, or I have the x's and y's on one side and the constant number. It doesn't matter, just as long as you use the rules of algebra to recreate or reconstructure or switch these equations around. I think I'm going to use the x's over here because I can add 3y to the other side. Okay? So I'm going to keep this equation as x is equal to 3y plus 11, but I'm going to add 3y to both sides here. Well, what does that do for me? Well, those cancel each other out, so now I've got 2x is equal to 3y plus 16, because that's a positive 3y, so I can just put it out there in front. Now I've got my equations lined up. Doesn't that look neater? My x's are lined up, my equal signs are lined up, my y's, and my numbers. So now am I going to add or subtract? Well, if I subtract x minus 2, that doesn't help me out. My common coefficients are over here in front of the y's. And if I subtract those, that will eliminate the y's because 3 minus 3 is equal to 0. So we are going to subtract. All right, x minus 2x. Well, that gives me a -1x. Does that make sense? 3y minus 3y is 0, and 11 minus 16 is -5. So if the opposite of x is negative 5, that must mean that x is equal to positive 5. Okay, that's one of our coordinates. Now we're going to plug it back into one of the original equations. And I know I wrote on top of that one, but I can already tell that I think I want to use this one up here. It might not be simpler, I don't know, but I kind of like that one up there. So if x is 5, I can put my 5 right there. 3y plus 11. So now we need to subtract 11 from both sides. And 5 minus 11 is negative 6, I think. And 11 minus 11, those have canceled. So if I divide both sides by 3, we will get that y is equal to negative 2. So my coordinate pair is 5, negative 2. My assistant says thank you for your patience and your attention, and we'll see you later. Be looking for the assignment. Like I said, this assignment I will make due on Tuesday. There will not be a video on Monday, other than I might say howdy, hello, just that kind of a video, but you'll see your next instructional video next Wednesday. See you guys later.